Okay, so the transition that you're talking about is kind of about here. It's this kind of drop section that I made. I'll play a little bit before and then I'll explain what's going through.
Don't try this at home, kids. Ow, being stabbed.
So yeah, so firstly, this is FL Studio. This is the program that I've been using for about 6 years or so. Just a quick explanation of what's going on. Everything from like here up is all like the percussion stuff, and then everything down here is melodic. As for like the actual sounds that are going on, it's all relatively simple in the sense that there's not a huge amount of sounds actually going on. They're just kind of all doing like subtle things. So this transition here, there's kind of, I guess, two parts that are going on. This first part is the same as this chord sound here. So it starts off with that sound, which I believe is just the one. Yeah, it's just the one sound. So that was actually made with, there was a bottle that was on my desk that I blew into, and that kind of made this sort of sound. And then so from that, it's got some effects on it. So it's got, this is a little bit of compression. This is just like a, it's just kind of like an envelope. Well, it's an envelope controller because that's what it says. But that's just controlling this sort of like filter cutoff thing. So that's all that's doing. This is a bit of compression, and this one is just a bit of distortion. And then that goes into 30, which has then got another compressor, a little bit of stereo shaping, and some reverb. And then this is just how I do sidechain. Oh, because it's not on the side.
Oh no.
No, don't do that. This one here. There we go. That's just how I do sidechain. So yeah, starts off with that sound. And then it transitions into like this sound. And so this sound is actually made up of 3 different sounds. So this is kind of like the main layer, but then you can see if I go show children, these are the 3 that it's controlling. So this one here is the main sound that you hear. So that's that one. Next one. And then the last one. So those 3 sounds all go together to make. It's pretty simple on all of them, and it's kind of similar for a lot of them as well. So a little bit of distortion, a little bit of reverb, a little bit of stereo enhancement, and then a phaser, and this kind of gives it like the kind of almost vocally sound. This is a little bit of distortion, but acting more like a filter. So if I solo this, so this was the original sound. This is with the distortion filter sort of thing. So pretty strong, and then just a little bit of distortion. Just basically makes it a little bit louder. This is the first one. Let's play that by itself. Without everything. So then distortion, reverb, stereo, and then phaser. So all of which doing kind of a subtle job just to help make it a little bit more interesting. And then this last one has got some crazy stuff on it. So this is a vocoder. This is just kind of wizard juice. I don't really know what it does. Or at least not in this setting. I'm not using it as a vocoder, I'm just using it as an effect. So it's kind of getting kind of a vocal sort of sound from it. So that's the original sound, and then with the vocoder, it kind of makes it a little bit vocally, makes it a bit more bassy. Yeah, this is a compressor. This makes it a little bit wider. Flanger, so another like sort of vocaloid sort of sound. Some EQ, some very slight stuff. Some stereo enhancement, and then a little bit of reverb. So all up, it sounds like this. And all together. And then all those 3 are all going into this one, and this is just like the master for these three sounds. Just like EQ. I think I'm actually using this one as a filter, so it's not actually I'm automating this to make it like a low pass filter. And then this is just more sidechain stuff. So that's pretty much it for the chord sounds. There's also a bass sound, which I think is made of two from memory. Yeah, these two, which both have distortion and then just a bit of EQ to take out the highs. Sidechain on both of them. Individually, it sound like this. And then more of the sub bass. Oh, too low. And then those two together sound like this. So when it comes to the actual transition, basically what's going on is that it's, how to explain it? So this is obviously the start of the bar, but it starts with this sound. And then it transitions into this sound. So I'll play it again and then I'll explain kind of the nuances. The main kind of effect that you're getting is from like this section just here. And there's a couple of things that are going on. The first of which is this note here with the little symbol is a pitch bend. So basically it's taking whatever the closest note is to it and pitching it up to that. So it takes this D sharp and over this length of time, it transitions from a D sharp to an F. So if I play it, it sounds like this. You can hear that kind of sweep up. And so that's locked to the tempo. It's just under a beat. So that gap of a tone or two semitones is doing it to all of these notes. So even this C sharp here is only coming up to this D sharp. C sharp, D sharp, G sharp to A sharp, so on. And you'll actually notice this whole chord, excluding this one, is just that chord, just down a tone. The reason I did this is because when you hear something that's not quite in the key or it sounds a little bit off, it stands out a little bit more. And because this transition was a little bit awkward, I wanted to kind of make it sound deliberate and not sound like, oh, we're going into this bit now. So I did that by doing that sort of pitch automation. I'll remove it and I'll show you what the effect is. So this is without it, and then I'll play it again with it. You can kind of hear it's just kind of a sweep in, and then with it, did I do it enough times? There we go. With it. You kind of just have that little sweep in. It's just that little bit more interesting. It's pretty subtle, but I think it sounds cool. The bass also has a sweep in, like a pitch up, I should say. And it's following this volume automation curve. This chord pattern also has a volume curve, and that's this one here. So it's coming in slightly quicker than the bass, and then this one is just the filter shape. So if I get rid of that, you've just got the volume, and then if I get rid of the volume, it's just that. So anyway, that's kind of all that transition is. In here, there's a percussive section, which I think that was just me hitting my water bottle. For the actual like other percussion parts, there's these pops, which was like a little lolly container that had a pop lid, a tap from a bottle. I actually have no idea what this was, but I turned it into a crash. Literally can't remember. Oh, I think I might have been sliding paper. I don't know. I don't remember. And then these are just like the main kind of snare sounds. So these are the pops. Then that was just a box that had some stuff in it. Not sure what that was. And then that I'm pretty sure was some picks. I've got a pick on my desk that's it's kind of ridged, and so I was flicking it along other picks to get that sort of sound. And then there were lots of other little like kind of click sounds. And that's all going through delay. It's me typing on a keyboard but reversed, and then my vocal.
Ow, being stabbed.
Because I stabbed myself with a guitar string. So yeah, that's everything that goes on in this section. Oh, there's the kick pattern as well. That's actually an interesting point, actually. So when it's playing this sound, the kick is actually just like, I've actually got two kick sounds. So I've got like a high kick and a low kick. And so for this first section, there's no low kick, it's just the high kick. But then when it comes in full, you get that low kick as well. So that's kind of one thing as well, that like I'm putting more power into this to make this transition sound deliberate and like I'm changing now. So that sort of stuff. So I'll play that, and if you listen for the kick, it's pretty subtle. You may not necessarily be able to hear it, but I'll play it and just keep an eye out for the kick. Ow! You really kind of get that low end through the kick, which probably helps quite a lot and makes it really punchy. But yeah, I hope that cleared up some stuff and that I explained it okay. But yeah, if you got any more questions, let me know.